One of the most popular Windows accessories around is the calculator. And here in Windows 7, the calculator gets a surprisingly major update and its first serious functional refresh since way back to Windows 95. So let's launch the calculator from the Windows Orb or Start button. Let's just type in Calc. That's going to display one program starting with Calc. That's the calculator. And when we select it, it's going to pop up on our screen, and the first thing you might notice is it probably looks a little bit bigger than you're used to. And that's because it's getting ready for those brand new multi-touch compatible displays that are on the way. You're going to be able to press the calculator buttons right on the screen like you would a real calculator. But it's the different modes of operation you can now choose from that makes the calculator worth exploring. Let's click the View button. You'll notice Standard is selected, and it's the default or basic view you're probably accustomed to. You also have Scientific. Scientific still exists like it did in previous versions. You get all of these extra buttons, and you're going to need to know what you're doing with this particular mode. Let's go back to View and choose a new one called Programmer. In Programmer mode, you've got a couple of things that you're going to be seeing and a number of different options for conversions and different modes as well. Let's just play around a little bit. We'll type in the number 128. So it appears here in the display. This is using our language known as the decimal language, but we can convert it using this mode to hexadecimal, for example. And this is great for programmers. 80 is the equivalent in that language. And if you're wondering what computers see when we type in characters like 128, well, we can change to another mode such as byte, for example. Down below, you're going to see the ones and zeros that make up the number 128 in the decimal language or 80 in the hexadecimal language. This is what the computer sees. We'll go back to View. One last one is Statistics. This is also like the programmer mode in that you're going to need to know what you're doing with these types of modes of operation because you're not going to find a lot of explanation on how to use the calculator modes. So if you're into statistics, you'll know how to use these buttons down below. Let's go back to View now and change it to Standard. Now we also have not just the different modes of operation, but some additional options that will allow us to change the additional information we can work with on the right-hand side. Let's go back to View. You can see we're working in BASIC here. We've got unit conversion. Now over on the right-hand side, next to our standard calculator, we have the ability to convert things. For example, angles, which appear by default on this button. Change the type, for example, to temperature. Now down below, we can enter a value. Notice degrees Celsius appears. So today we're expecting a high where I live of 26 degrees Celsius. I'd like to know what that is in Fahrenheit. I go down below, change degrees Celsius to degrees Fahrenheit, and you can see our high today is going to be 78.8 degrees. Nice little feature. So lots of different types to choose from. If you want to convert to the metric system, length, for example, and you'll notice we've got lots to choose from here. Let's say we wanted to convert 12 inches into centimeters. I think you've got the idea. So 30.48 centimeters is what you'll find on the typical ruler. Now you also have date calculations. Let's go up to the View menu. Go down to Date Calculation. Notice the keyboard shortcuts on the right-hand side as well. Now we can calculate things like the difference between two dates. All we have to do is select those dates. We can type them in or use the little calendar buttons. Let's say from today to next month, later on in the month. The difference in days, we click Calculate, is 57 days. You can also see 1 month, 3 weeks, and 6 days. We'll also check out the templates for things like gas mileage, lease, and mortgage estimations. Click View, go down to Worksheets, and you'll see them all here. So if you're trying to figure out a mortgage, for example, you would choose Mortgage. What do you want to calculate? Your monthly payment, what your down payment needs to be. Let's go with monthly payment. And we'll just try some values here. Let's say the purchase price of the house is $350,000. And we've got a down payment of $120,000. And the term, let's go for 25 years. And the interest rate we're going to get right now, let's say, is 5.25. When we click Calculate, we're going to see that our monthly payment is just over $1,378. Nice little feature built into the calculator. So we'll close that up. When we return to the calculator, this is the mode we'll be in. So whatever you leave it in is what comes back the next time you launch the calculator. And although the calculator rarely receives a lot of attention in Windows, this time around in Windows 7, the enhancements are too numerous to ignore.